Welcome, folks, to Rolling Stone and the In the Spotlight interview series. And today we have the amazing, direct from the UK, Ben Waters. Yeah. Ben, welcome back to New Zealand.
Oh, it's lovely to be here. Thanks very much, Davey.
How many trips have you done over here now?
7 or 8, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Why do you like it so much here?
I came here by accident. I played at a wedding in Scotland on the borders, and it was for a guy called Tom Murray, and there was a resident of Akaroa there, and he said, "I'm going to bring you over. I'm going to bring you over. I'm going to bring you over." And then we never did. But me and my son were on tour. My son's a saxophone player, as you know. We were on tour in Australia. And I did a mailing list, and we're here in Australia, we're having a great time, it's fantastic. And he wrote back and said, "It's not fantastic at all. I've been asking you to come to New Zealand, and you didn't call me." And he said, "How many days have you got off while you were over there?" And I planned 4 days off, because my son must have been 14, 15 then. So I was to show him around Sydney. And he said, "Right, you're coming to Akaroa." So he picked us up from the airport at midnight, drove straight to Akaroa. Got there, we drank lots of beer, stayed up listening to music. He really likes this piano player, Don Shirley, who that film, The Green Book's about. So we listened to him all night and drank a local beer, the Three Boys beer, and stayed up till 3 or 4 in the morning. But because I hadn't been expecting to come to New Zealand, I hadn't thought about New Zealand, I didn't research where we were going, I didn't even remember where he said. But woke up in the morning, went to go to the loo, undid the curtains and thought, wow, that's incredible. And that's the first moment I fell in love with New Zealand, you know. Yeah. So
Akaroa Harbour is a pretty amazing place.
It's stunning.
To look over. And I've seen you obviously playing in Akaroa and in this fine venue. You're coming up to gig number 3, I think, here.
Yeah, I absolutely love it here.
Yeah.
It's because travelling as you do, we're all gigging all the time, aren't we? And this place is like a home from home. It's just like all the decor is like really cosy and friendly and world class sound and lights and proper stage and looked after and nice green room and everything. It's just you can't ask for more, can you?
That's right.
Yeah, really, really beautiful atmosphere it is.
Yeah. So so I actually first met you, I think I'm thinking it's about the year 2000, on the Isle of Man at the Blues Festival there, where I was playing with one of my duos, and you were playing, and obviously we were a lot younger back then. And I remember just seeing you playing and going, oh my God. And then we got chatting, and you said to me that you were playing with Shakin' Stevens.
I was at the time, yeah.
And that, for me, was like the most amazing thing, because when I grew up, I was just obsessed with Shakin' Stevens.
Yeah.
So you were telling me all the stories about that. So how did your career go from where it was to Shakin' Stevens and then onwards?
Well, it was I was always really bad at school, really bad, and I didn't really have many interests or anything. And my parents wanted to watch this guy called Fats Domino. 1988, it was his 60th birthday. It was Fats Domino, Ray Charles, Jerry Lee Lewis, with Steve Jordan on drums and Ronnie Wood on guitar, who I later got to know and everything. So. But as soon as I heard it, I fell in love with that sound. I was like, wow, I'd never heard music like that. And to this day, anything like that, sort of with a backbeat. And I'm an old rocker, really. Back then I was a young rocker, but it was that kind of music that made me just felt fantastic. It still does make me feel fantastic. If I got troubles and stresses, I sometimes forget to listen to music when I'm really busy with work, and I put it all on and it goes. And it's like... And that's what I loved about Fats Domino, because he did that for me back then. Yeah. And it's just like you get lost in the moment. Yeah. And so I got obsessed with it and just started to try and be like Fats Domino. I've got the shape right. And but I just got to work on the voice and the piano playing there. But so I started playing, and like I've always was like not good at school or anything, not shone at anything. And I quite liked the sort of interest of everyone saying, "Oh, that's good. You know, it's the first time that had happened." So I started playing in pubs and clubs around Weymouth and Dorset for £5 and a plate of sandwiches, and now I'm playing for £10 and a plate of sandwiches. But so we used to do all these gigs, And I suddenly got a phone call out of the blue from Shakin' Stevens, because he liked the fact that I was sort of younger and really into that style of music, all that boot, because he loves all that. I mean, he's amazing, really, because he knows all those people like Huey Smith and the Clowns and Professor Longhair and Amos Milburn and stuff. So so we really hit it off because we loved all the same things. So the first gig we did was excuse me, it was an audition in the TUC conference in Scarborough. So he said, right, you come up. The piano player they've got would do half the gig, and I'd do the other half. And if it goes well, I got the job. But the other piano player was Chris Holland, Jules Holland's brother. So that's how I got to know Chris and Jules. And I got the gig. So then the first gig we did was Esbjerg Glam Rock Festival with Slade, Dr. Hook, Susie Quattro and Nazareth.
Wow.
So 50,000 people. I've been used to playing in little pubs on acoustic pianos with people right there, Yeah. And suddenly they were like 50 feet away. And of course, all those bands playing, they only did half an hour each. So it's like 6 songs. So like, they finished with 6 songs, and I've been like, I was only just getting into it, and it stopped, So it's it was, but we did do lots of tours with him doing his own thing as well. So and I loved his when he had a fantastic band, as I'm sure you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Gary Watkins on piano, he's one of my heroes. Albert Lee on guitar, Mickey G on the guitar, and Howard Tibble on the drums, who was the drummer on Always Look on the Bright Side of Life.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he had a brilliant band, and everyone forgets he was the biggest selling singer of the 80s from England. I think it was 5 number ones and 30 top 40s or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was I was dropped in the deep end fairly quickly.
But that must have been an amazing start for your career. And then where did it go after that with Shakin' Stevens to, in a kind of a short way, how does it get from there to where you are now? What was the path?
Well, I started doing, I did an album actually when I was 18, and it was just recorded on an old upright piano and a double bass player, dodgy singing, and I'd never recorded before, but this friend said, let's just do some recording. So we recorded 45 minutes straight through. And to cut a very long story short, we put this album out, and it was just, I didn't think it was commercial in any way, shape or form. I never even thought about it. They just recorded it. And there was so many mistakes, and I'm speeding up, and I'm actually, because I don't have the musical knowledge, so I'd be playing things wrong. But actually, a lot of those old people, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think, Cripple Clarence Lofton, all those old blues guys, they play things wrong. Because, like if you're doing I don't know, if you're doing a riff and when you change to the 4 chord, you're meant to make it minor. I never did that, so I just carried on. But for some reason, people loved it. In fact, it's mostly the most successful album I ever did. And because I was in the front room at home on a Sunday afternoon, and my mum phoned up and said, they're playing you on Radio 1. So Radio 1? It's the most uncommercial music ever. And so I put the phone down, and it was Andy Kershaw. And he phoned up and said, you're live on Radio 1. He said, don't swear. He said, how does a young lad from Weymouth know about Professor Longhair? And the funny thing was, I was very lucky to know about it, because there wasn't any YouTube or Spotify or even a record shop near where I lived. It was nothing. So if you wanted to get any specialist music like that, you either had to go to London and search for it, or you had to send off for it on a, but again, records were expensive back then as well. So if you suddenly heard of this guy, Professor Longhair, and sent for the record and you got it, and you spent all your money getting it, you might not like it. So it was a bit of a gamble. But my aunt and uncle they lived about 40 minutes away, and they were best friends with Ian Stewart, the piano player from the Rolling Stones. Yeah. And I met Ian Stewart, who played at their 25th wedding anniversary. And when he died, he left them his piano. And so if you go into their living room, they've got Ian Stewart's old upright piano, and they've got these 2 white matching speakers, which used to be the Stones front of house PA system in the 60s. So they're sort of bigger than these things. It's in their front room. But then they've got all Stu's old record collection. So before, I said we didn't have YouTube, Spotify or anything, but I had access to this amazing collection. So I just got there. I play in their local pub on a Saturday night, stay over, spend all day in the mornings just going through all this stuff and old video footage and people like Cab Calloway and stuff like that. So I started learning through that, and and then Ian Stewart had another band called Rocket 88, and they needed a piano player. And they said, oh, if Ben's learnt all Ian Stewart's... Because one of the things it had was Ian Stewart playing at Montreux Jazz Festival with a camera right on his piano. Brilliant. So I learnt by copying him.
Brilliant.
They found out and got me the gig with them. And then the same with Chris Jagger, Mick's younger brother. They both got me in because they wanted somebody that played like Stu. So I wasn't as good as Stu, but I could just sort of emulate him a bit. So I got the jobs with them.
Fantastic.
And then with Charlie, and actually Mick Taylor first of all from the Stones, and I met him at a festival in Belgium, and I just got on the stage and I said, I'm going to do a tune by Lonnie Mack, and I played it, and he said, anyone that knows Lonnie Mack at your age, he said, it's cool. So he said we should form a band together. So we did. So we toured all around Europe, and I could write a book on that tour. I could tell you, so it was amazing. And then I started a band with Charlie Watts, and then with Ronnie, and I've done stuff on and off with the Stones. Well, I used to play with Mick a bit with Chris Jagger. We used to play parties for him when he used to live in Richmond. But then I got asked to go into the studio with him in 2011, which nothing was released from. So I did a four days with all of them apart from Mick, and Mick joined on the last day. And then I did some sessions recently, and I'm on their new single that's just out now on Spotify. So that's how all that came about, you know. So it was, but it was just more by luck than judgment.
Yeah.
I think one thing I will say is I can't do everything. I couldn't do K-pop or suddenly play with Miley Cyrus or any of that sort of ballady stuff. I'm just literally a one-trick pony. I do blues and boogie, but luckily, because I'm doing a specialist in that one niche, I get a lot of work from people who want that one niche.
That's right. Yeah. That's an amazing thing. So what is it like being in the studio with some of these people and playing? Is it a pressure situation, or are you on your own? How does it work?
I think with the Stones, it's always a joyous one.
Right.
Because I'm excited to be there. Excuse me. And I remember being asked to go there in Chelsea with them, and we were there with so the first day I got there, and I think we meant to play at like 11 o'clock. I got there and Charlie was sat in an immaculate suit sipping an espresso, and so it was just me and him, and then Bill Wine came in about half an hour late, and he was moaning because he didn't have a car, and then Charlie said, I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about Bill because he's fantastic, but he said you haven't got a car, and he said, well, you only live 4 doors away. Something like that. And then about an hour later Ronnie turns up, 2 hours later Keith turns up, and it was just wonderful hearing them talk. But one of the things that sticks in my mind, they're talking, and I'm nothing to do with it. I'm just hired in because they've got a proper piano player, Chuck Leavell, who can do anything, who's absolute genius, and Ian Stewart got on the job. But I think I got hired for that session because they didn't want to bring everyone over for America for what was happening for that particular thing. So I was very lucky to be there. But listening to them talk, this was the most amazing thing. You suddenly realise they had met the Pope and presidents and Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley and John Lennon, and you think, wow, this is incredible. And they weren't showing off or anything, they're just chatting, and you suddenly realise 4 days with them, you suddenly realised all these amazing things happened to them. Yeah. And the other thing that really stood out is their love of music. Yeah. Because they all know all the old records, and they not only know them, they love them. And Keith was getting videos up of people like the Tealman brothers that I'd never heard of, and he said, "You got to watch this. You got to, and things like Lightning Hopkins, and he was getting out old videos of Chuck Leavell playing from 1978, saying, "Look at that." It's so they were like kids in a sweet shop, and it was so nice to see. And the other thing. So that was all going on. It was very joyous because they were so in love with the music they're doing. Is their knowledge, because like Keith had just suddenly said, don't think that note's right there. You think, oh really? And he said, yeah, so move it up one or whatever, He's a proper musician. He knows. They all are. It's so it was great to see how they work. How they produce an amazing record. Really.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And then you do session work with other people. You're a hired hand for other recording sessions.
I said to Ray Davis once, because I did 4 albums with him, I said, I'm not really a session player. And he goes, I know. He said, you bring something else to it, which I found quite flattering, because I'm a messy player. Because, when I said I did that album and people loved it, I'm a messy player. I am a mess, really sort of sloppy. Because like these days, everyone's obsessed with metronomics and doing the right things. And, you listen to a lot of those people like Champion Jack Dupre. He changed chords when he wanted, he'd done. And I don't know, you've all seen session players where I'm sure you go and see them and they do a gig without the sort of main guy and it's absolutely precise. But I find it very cold and clinical. Yeah. And I don't know, I prefer players. Like I did a tour with Big Bill Morganfield, Muddy Waters' son. Yeah. He'd just do one take and that'd be it. Yeah. And he wouldn't tidy up all the... Because it was natural, really. And I think that's... So Ray said what he liked the mess of what I was doing. And people who are session players and have worked on their being in the pocket and exactly right don't understand how I get so many sessions. But actually, Ray wanted the opposite. He wanted somebody that wasn't like that. If that makes sense. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant. I'm saying I'm a bloody mess, and I'm very lucky that some people find that all right.
I find. I mean, again, with music isn't just about the music that's being played, but you can hear the passion and the heart and stuff. Yeah. And it's sort of that's the thing I think a lot of people fire on. And when obviously I'm obsessed with that the old time music, and I like the fact that things flow and ebb and things have their own directions. So I think it's a really nice thing. Yeah,
it is. I think you're exactly right when you say about the passion. I think if somebody sees somebody going at their all, really going for it, and it's I don't know much about anything, but I do know that like certain musicians now, they want to be, like particularly drummers and things, that they want to learn every single fill they can do, and they want to be able to go like that, and it's all well and good, but I don't really like that in music. So I'd rather like Charlie Watts wasn't a regular sort of drummer, and he'd be the first one to say I'm not very good. That's what he would say. And then you suddenly be playing, because we had this band, the ABC and D of Boogie Woogie, you'd be playing sort of some boogie woogie tune. His book was called Charlie's Good Tonight, isn't it? But sometimes when he was on form, he was always on form, but he'd just go that extra thing. It sounded like a steam train coming out of the tunnel. Yeah. And it was like, wow, I've never played this with so much energy, ever. Yeah. And when he was like that, you just think, and it's... But I prefer it like it was never the same. Like one... some bands, they do it exactly the same. So it was always off the cuff, and he'd play it differently every time. But every now and then you think, oh my God, this is like one of the best moments of my life.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? And so when it comes to like the best moments in your life, have you got a career highlight where you go, that was just the best thing ever? I always like it when I play with my son or my daughter. When my son dropped out of school when he was 13. He had a first school that he loved, second middle school that he loved. When he got to the big school, he hated it, and he wanted to just be a saxophone player. And he hated it so much, and I thought, I don't want him to go through years of something he hates. So I said, if you want to drop out, you can come on tour with me. So he dropped out of school from 13 to 16, and we did 900 shows in 50 countries or something, and it became sort of almost telepathic, because when you sort of like know each other so well and doing so much. So like to this day now he's busy doing stuff, I'm busy. So, but when we get together, that's always a highlight for me. Yeah. But with other highlights, and when my daughter sings as well, she's got no faith in her own voice, but I think she's absolutely incredible. And going to see her own concerts. So as I'm a proud dad, so that's a good thing. Other highlights was we did a Ronnie Scott's with my band and special guests Ronnie Wood and Imelda May. And on the first night he brought Rod Stewart along, and he got up and sang with us. Nice. And on the second night we had Jeff Beck and Johnny Depp join in as well. So that was pretty special. Nice. Yeah. No, I think it's some of that on YouTube. I think.
Is it? Yeah. But it's in a tiny little. It's 200 fantastic. People, and that was.
So when I saw you playing with, and Tom came over with you a few years ago on one of those tours over here, and Tom was just phenomenal. And his it seems that his career is just really taken off as a solo guy.
Yeah,
doing all sorts, isn't he? Yeah. So who's he playing with now?
He's doing all sorts at the moment. Right now, he's on tour with a guy called Jeff Atchison, who's a brilliant blues guitar player from Melbourne, and his own band. There's Jack. They all met at the because when we did the 3 years off, Tom got into the Royal Academy of Music and he did 4 years there, and he met all those guys there, and so they're his band are people of his own age.
Yeah.
And they're phenomenal, you know.
Yeah.
And all of them can play piano better than me. They go, no, it goes like that, Ben. And I'm like, thanks. Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
Yeah, he's been doing all sorts. He does a bit with Jules Holland's Rhythm and Blues Orchestra. He did a bit for. He just played for. Just played as much for a year now. He did. Roger Taylor really likes him from Queen,
Right.
so he asked him to play at his 75th birthday party, and he's been really helpful. And he came to our gig in New York, and he told me, he said he really loves Tom's playing. He said he's a special player and stuff. So he does stuff with those guys. And who else has he been playing with? He's doing all. He's got a recording contract with BMG, but for music on TV adverts and things like that. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
wonderful.
yeah. So yeah.
So how is it over the years? Because obviously you've been on tour a lot, you travel a lot. So how is it balancing family and music and that side of it? Obviously, you know.
I've got an amazingly patient wife. she's fantastic. You know, it's over the years touring. So like another member of the band, I won't say, you know, there'll be other members of my band. They'll phone up and say, I'm in New Zealand. I'm in this really cool place and I'm staying in a nice hotel. And the wife will suddenly shout down the phone, well, I'm clearing up baby sick here. I hope you're having a good time, and slam down the phone. But but I've always been lucky that if 99.99999% of the time she goes, I'm really pleased you deserve it. Have a good time and a rest. You work hard. Mind you, if she is ever annoyed with me, I know I'm in trouble then. Because she's very So then that's hard if you're suddenly away and you've done something wrong or something. You know. Yeah. But I am very lucky having a cool wife.
You know, that stability, and then of course you have the sideline of the Rock and Roll Holidays.
Yeah.
So how does that work? That's a family business as well.
No. I started it in. Right. I've been a musician for 35 years, and I played in a place called Penticton in Canada.
Right.
And I'd never heard of it before, but I went there. I thought, wow, because if you go to travel agencies, they tell you about Whistler and Banff and Lake Louise, but no, I'd never heard of anyone saying about Penticton. It was my favourite place in Canada. I just thought, wow, this is incredible. And it's like white sandy beaches, and it's 30 degrees every day, and that's where everyone comes up from in the summer from Vancouver to sit on the beach side and swim in the pristine lakes and go tubing between the two lakes, and you sit there with a beer floating down with bald eagles going overhead. Wow. I thought, this is amazing. If I come here again, I'm going to ask anybody if they want to come with me. And then I had some gigs in Memphis. Not really big gigs, but right in the middle of nowhere, different place. So I thought, right, I'm going to do it. So I asked a travel agent friend of me who wants to come. Well, he sorted it all out. Well, I said, who wants to come with me? And 35 people came. Wow. We called ourselves the Memphis 35. And the best bit about it, because I'm a people. It sounds really stupid and airy-fairy, but I'm a people person. I don't really like a lot of the modern world. I don't like all that, reality TV, or I don't, I much prefer go to the pub and have a chat with people, and I find it really interesting what people do and stuff. Yeah. So the best thing about Rock and Roll Holidays was normally a gig, as you know, you got 30 friends that are turned up for a night, and you're trying to talk to everyone and you can't, but when you're on holiday with them for 2 weeks, you really get to know them all, and they get to know each other. So it gets to the point now where we've done like 250 of those, but people will turn up not to see me, just to see each other. But I'm at the conversion point, So it's the best thing I've ever done, really.
That's great. So now you do locations all over the place.
We're off to Japan from here.
Yeah. Because I get your I'm on your mailer for that. And then I have a look and it's like, they all look great holidays.
You'll have to come and do one. I'd love to do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love that. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Hey, yeah. So what are your sort of favourite places? Is there a place where you really enjoy going to and playing, and like to do with the audience and the location? Or?
Now, this sounds really sycophantic, but I love coming here. I do. I absolutely love it. And I love this place because of Mike and Gretchen, because they make you so welcome. And it's just, like, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. And I love Akaroa.
Yeah.
And my friends down there, Mike Norris, and everyone down there, and Ben at the Grand. Yes. And so this is really special to come here. And so I talk about this with my son quite a lot, who's been on tour with me loads. We love the Isles of Scilly, love playing out there. And we're doing a rock and roll holiday out there in October. And we're staying on an island called... have you ever been?
No. I did have the opportunity once to go, and then the show was cancelled.
We'll have to organise it for next year.
There we go.
But it's nobody believes it because it's like white. It's very white, sandy beaches. It looks like it should be like the Seychelles or Caribbean. It really is that beautiful, and the turquoise waters. Like absolutely, looks just like the Caribbean, apart from bloody cold.
Yeah. Lovely. See, you could do your Duran Duran Rio videos around there. Yeah. So when you're sort of, we touched on this before, that when you're relaxing, what music do you listen to? Are you still in the boogie woogie zone?
No, it's funny. I love boogie woogie, and I love. I mean, driving music. I like much more sort of bordering on rock, and I'm an old rocker really. I love some of the Stones things, but I like not what people expect. But I like tunes like Respectable and things like that. Sort of really status quo. I love all that for the driving. All that sort of full on. Chuck Berry, that kind of. Yeah. But for relaxing, I sort of have a go-to album of Bob Dylan, Modern Times.
Oh, yeah, that's a great album.
Yeah, and there's a tune that if I really want to relax, I put on. It's called. I don't know why I love it so much, because it's a bit of a strange tune, but it's called Spirit on the Water. Yep. I absolutely love it. Yeah. But that whole album I find quite relaxing, and Van Morrison I find relaxing as well.
Yeah, that Bob Dylan album is quite rootsy. It's great.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really nice. So,
I think the way it's recorded as well, it's not sort of too compressed or I think they must have just done it in. I think that's why I like Van as well, because Ian Jennings, I know quite well, the double bass player, is great. He did a brilliant album called Back on Top with Van, and he said Van wouldn't tell him anything before they did the session, and they just went in and they said it's one take, that's it. Yeah. And so I think that's why I love it, because I don't like music that's been fiddled around with too much.
But then that goes back to that same conversation we were talking about before, about feeling the passion in the music. That's what you're actually hearing, and that's
and being in the same room rather.
Absolutely, yeah.
I did a session for a band doing that rootsy kind of music, and everything was layered on, and they put in a piano. And I did another album with that same band when we were all in the same room, and I know which one I prefer, definitely.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, what was the first gig you ever went to?
I'm trying to think. I used to follow this band, well, I still do. There's a guy from, actually he's from South Africa originally, but he moved to Yorkshire when he was like 12. But he's a guy called Diz Watson, right? And he had a band called Diz and the Doormen, and I absolutely worship that band, and I was very lucky to go and see him a couple of times. They had a brilliant album, came out in 1981, and it's still to this day one of my favourite albums. Right. But it was recorded in, I think, Chalk Farm, and the saxophone player, who was a friend of mine, Pete Thomas, Pete Thomas, he's amazing really, but he started playing with Bill Haley, right, which you wouldn't have thought he'd been old enough, but he was in Bill Haley's band. And so we worked with him, and Bill Haley did a tour with Fats Domino, and Fats Domino had Lee Allen in the band, and Lee Allen he did all those solos on Tutti Frutti and with Little Richard and all those ones with Fats Domino and Slipping and a Slide, and all that's all him, millions of old records, well, not millions, but he played on so many. He's a really cool saxophone player. But Pete Thomas got obsessed with Lee Allen, and he would sit in the wings trying to sort of, just to finish this gig with Bill Haley supporting Fat, he'd sit in the wings trying to work out what he was doing, and then one night he just came and grabbed him, pulled him on stage, and he came out, and then Fats hired him, so he ended up in Fats Domino's band. So this album, Fats Domino was playing in London, and Diz was playing the next day with in a recording studio with to make this album, so Pete just got all Fats Domino's band and dragged them down to the studio, and they all went in, and to this day it's one of my favourite. He was, still is, he's brilliant. He was like a real sort of mentor to me. I saw him the other night, and Dr. John loved him so much, and when Dr. John used to come over to England, he used to use his band because he thought they were so cool. They were more wild than Keith Moon, really. The drummer was a guy called Kieran O'Connor, and he drank and drugged himself to death by 39, but he was phenomenal. But if you ever get a chance, that album, Diz and the Doormen, Blue Coat Man, it's called.
Right.
Yeah.
And how is it when you either end up meeting some of your idols or playing with some of your idols? How does that feel to you? Is it a weird experience? Is it is it just the most joyful experience? How is it?
I remember the first time when I joined Shakin' Stevens. I think I was 18, might have been 17. I remember going in, being really, really nervous, and he gave me a cup of tea, and I was it's like a comedy sketch, where somebody's going like that, and it was rattling. So I remember being nervous then, and I think that was the only time I've been really nervous. But I think everybody, I think particularly like the Stones and all that, they've just been on such a humble level and just talk about music, and so they're sort of saying who's your favourite piano player, and so it just puts me at ease and stuff. So I don't think I've ever been really starstruck. I don't think, because with the Stones, I wasn't into them so much. I didn't even know them when I first met them. I was more into Ian Stewart, and I'd been learning how to play like by copying him, but not with the Stones, by watching his. So it was just an accident, really. Yeah. Oh, amazing, eh? Amazing. So anyway, Ben, it's been ace talking with you, and it's like a mega insight into your world. Oh, yeah, thank you. I always love playing when we've done gigs together. It's been great. So you've got to go and see Davey as well, because he's a brilliant musician.
It feels great to me, and it is what I notice when I've done those bits of jamming with you. It is just that free form, and it is. I remember saying to you after a gig once that it comes across to me that you really love what you're doing.
I do.
You really love it.
Yeah.
And that's I enjoy it. I enjoy what I do, but you take it to the next level of really obsessed and really loving it.
Oh, it does make me happy. Listening to it and playing it.
Yeah.
And, So and every time we play together, it's always been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, no, it's a real treat. Yeah,
and we're doing a trip down to Dunedin. I've never been there before.
Well, there we go. Nice. That'll be a nice experience, a nice road trip and whatnot. Yeah. So, but no, it's great, and it's lovely to hear that you enjoy Christchurch and Akroa in this area so much. As you well know, that I'm from your neck. Well, not your neck of the woods, but you know what I mean. Certainly, the Northern Hemisphere.
I think, yeah.
We've all fallen for it.
Yeah, we have. And the thing that really has made me happier than ever on this trip is to see, because I guess you don't see it because you're not being here all the time. But I've been coming here, I guess 11, 12 years. Not too long after the earthquake, and it's. Seeing it come back to life a bit by bit. And maybe it's just because I'm not here at the right times, but I came here and the place was so vibrant, like last night and today. It's a beautiful day, and looking around and went to the old university and the Great Hall and the botanical gardens, and people sat outside and riding bikes. It seems to be totally vibrant again, and it seems like it's fully recovered now. Yeah, it does now start to feel like it used to feel, pre-quake. So, so it's great that you're able to see that and be part of that journey of the city. So I absolutely love it. It's a wonderful city. Yeah, great. Well, I'm looking forward to the gig tomorrow night, and I'm looking forward to as well being with you over the week. Well, thanks, mate. That's really kind. Thanks to Mike and Gretchen for allowing us in this amazing bar, and I hope everybody at home watching this on the old video will enjoy it. Fantastic. Thanks, Dave. Ben, thanks very much, mate. Thank you. Cheers.